What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are all doing great. We got a good one for you today. At the beginning of this NBA season, I actually predicted what I thought all of the NBA teams' regular season records were going to be. I remember a couple of my picks, and I'm going to be honest, I'm not super excited to watch this back. I'm shooting for 50%. If I got 15 teams right, I'm gonna be excited about that, but I really don't remember. I haven't even watched this video since I edited and posted it, so you guys are gonna kind of be reacting to it with me today. Just for a little context, I believe that I recorded this right after the Karl-Anthony Towns Julius Randle trade. Paul George had signed with the 76ers at this point. It was pretty late into free agency. If you guys do enjoy this video, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe. I'll probably do this with NBA and NFL again this next year, because I'm looking forward to this. So let's get right into it and let's see what I predicted every NBA team's regular season record to be this year. All right, so first thing I want to point out is I feel like I look so much different. This was 8 months ago, and I feel like I look like a completely different person. Now, I get I grew a goatee, but oh my God. I'm just saying, that's not me. That is not me on the screen right there. Okay, let's All right, so we got the NBA standings pulled up here. We got the video started, and we're just basically gonna keep a little tally. I'm confident in a decent amount of my picks. The one that I'm not looking forward to is the Pelicans. I was pretty high on them. As it turned out, they were one of the worst teams in the league. I'll keep you guys updated throughout the video on what my record is. I'm probably gonna pause to do most of my talking. That way you guys aren't hearing me twice. But yeah, I'm super excited for this. So let's get right into it. Rank or make like a tier list essentially of where I think NBA teams are gonna fall. What we got here is less than 18 wins. So that's any team that I think is gonna get less than 18. I am gonna quickly show you guys the standings from last year. So less than 18 wins, we had the Pistons, we had the Wizards, and that was it. It was the Pistons and the Wizards. So essentially the East. I am not excited to see where I put the Pistons, bro. Oh no, I definitely didn't get them right either. Oh no, I am kind of glad that I pulled up the standings from the year before, especially in the West, because like everything was so close, and I was like, you know what, I'm also gonna predict everything close. So we'll see how it goes. We're gonna start in the East. The teams are in random order, so we're gonna start with the East first. Just acquired Karl-Anthony Towns, who is crazy for them to get because they got Mikal Bridges and Karl-Anthony Towns, and essentially they bring in two starters to the same team minus one player. So I think the Knicks are easily 53 plus. They won 50 games last year. They are essentially way better, and they have just about as much depth. So I think 53 plus easily for them. Milwaukee Bucks. Oh my God! Wait a minute! Yo, I had them as a loss. Okay, wait. Knicks are a win. Oh, I'm so glad I redid that. I think I redid the number of wins a couple times, so my record might end up flipping, but in post-editing, I'm gonna fix everything for you guys, and as in real time you guys see everything, it'll be updated as it should be. So, Knicks, New York Knicks, they got 51 wins. So that's our first one. We're going to put Knicks in the win column because they got their 51. All right, bet. Milwaukee Bucks. Looks like the Bucks got 48. Also in line. I think I might have moved them up, so I might have screwed myself, but we got to watch. Bucks. We got to watch. Okay, I'm going to rethink this a little. So with the rework here, Knicks, I'm putting in 57 plus. I think that the Knicks and the Celtics being in the East, they're the two best teams in the East. And I think that they're
Dalton, what are you doing?
So I'm just gonna go ahead and put the Celtics up there too. Not a shocker, I'm a Celtics fan. So
oh no, this can't be.
But how many wins is? Okay, yeah. I was gonna say I thought we got 60. Okay, sweet. Okay. Darn it. Okay, Knicks, dude. There's so much scribble. I gotta get a new sheet of paper. This isn't a big sheet of paper, but I've already picked it up twice now. We got these two at the top. Let's move on to the Nets. Actually, let's go back to the Bucks. Do I think the Bucks win 50 games? They won 49 last year, and they don't. No. It's really hard because I think the Bucks could easily be in this 50-56, but we also have a team like the Sixers who are also going to be really good. I think the Sixers they won 47 games last year, and it's like I think that they can be 3 games better. I really do. So it's like I don't know.
It's not that crazy. It is not that crazy, bro.
I'm gonna stick the Bucks here for now. I might rework it later. But I think that in the East, I see them being fourth or third or fourth. It's just kind of a
They were
you
the
know, a
fifth
toss-up
seed,
between them and the
so
Sixers. So let's move on to the Nets. Less than 18. Any more wins than that, and that is a shame.
Boom. Roasted.
fuck, they got
Traded back to their own
26.
pick. So that's actually pretty interesting, and it makes this season like, actually worth it for them. They didn't own their first round pick, so they didn't really have to be bad. But now that they traded back with Houston and got
No.
their first round pick, they're set up to just have a year to tank.
The
Toronto
thinking is
Raptors,
there.
18 to 27, they won 25 games.
They won
last
30
year.
games?
I think that they will be better.
The East
I'm
is
very
weak,
tempted to
bro.
put them at 28. There's going to be a lot worse teams in the East this
Come
next
on,
year.
Dalton.
So
You're a genius.
I'm going to honestly vote pretty optimistic for them. And I say they win a couple more
Yeah.
games. Chicago Bulls. This is one of those teams. They won 39 games last year. I don't see them being in this tier.
They won 39 games again, bro. They won 39 games
That's them
again.
dropping like a decent amount, and if they end up being okay like they have been over the last few
They
years,
should still win
8
that many
wins still
games,
put them in
too.
this range. So I think the Toronto Raptors and the Bulls are kind of on that same tier, where like they have some promising pieces. The Bulls should be tanking more, but the Raptors are trying to like kind of build on things
Oh,
to
man.
like not tank. So I'm gonna put them both there. Pistons, 18 and 27. I don't see them making a crazy jump. They obviously won 14 games last year. But they're not going to.
Listen, no one predicted the Pistons to win 44 games this year.
Bryce Harris, so they get some shooting. I think that they have a little bit of a bounce back year. I don't think they'd lose 28 straight like they did last year.
I was
I just
correct.
don't think
They bounced
that's a thing,
back.
So
They just bounced back
18 to
2
27.
tiers higher than
Alright,
what I thought they would.
Cavaliers.
Whoa, hold up.
Really?
Actually, looking at this is kind of crazy because the Pistons jump 2 full tiers. Like they jump over 2 tiers and go up to 43 and 49. Like if I would put them up there, that's insane. Like you can't predict that. Cade played amazing this year, but that's still pretty crazy to see.
Team of the top, besides the Celtics, I guess, but the Knicks bring in obviously Mikal, Karl Anthony Towns. The Bucks make a couple decent moves.
I don't know if I
bring
put
in,
the Cavs up
Gary
there,
Trent,
bro.
A little bit more depth. The Cavaliers.
I definitely did not
They
put
will be
them up
better
there.
just because they're gonna have a little more continuity. They had this injury stretch last year where Darius Garland just did not play, and they rattled off like I think it was 21 straight. And I think
They
just
were
with a
really
little
good the
bit
year
more
before,
injury luck,
despite the injuries.
they could be in this 43 to 49 range. They won 48 games last year, so they were kind of on the high end of this, but I don't see them winning a ton more than that with these top end teams kind of taking.
That's
more of
a
the
bad
wins.
take.
I really think that this is a good spot for them. I think that the Bucks and the Cavs are kind of on the same level. I think that if anyone moves up, it's going to be the Bucks. 76ers.
Ah,
50,
man.
56, with Paul George and Kawhi.
All right, before the 76ers, because we know this is a loss, I'm literally just writing down 76ers. Current record, we are 3-6. That is not great at all. I actually felt pretty decent about this tier list. We're gonna go through the comments at the end and see just kind of like how people reacted, but not off to a good start. I gotta get pretty hot in order to get my goal of 15 correct.
The Clippers won 51 games last year, and that's,
I was low on the
I
Clippers
kinda
too,
see
bro.
The 76ers being in the similar boat in an easier conference. Like Joel Embiid is similar to Kawhi Leonard in the fact that they sometimes oftentimes get hurt and they don't play games. So there's this
Don't got
third
Ty
star
Lue.
Maxey, who's kind of like Harden, as we saw when they played together. Like as soon as James Harden left the Sixers, Maxey took off, and so you have Joel, Paul George, and Maxey, and I think that this team easily wins 50 games. Like even barring injury, like let's say Joel Embiid does miss half the year, like I still think Maxey and Paul carry this team to 50 wins because the Clippers won 51 in the West last year. And I know it's a little bit of a different situation, but I think the Sixers have decent depth. So
I liked my Sixers
I'm gonna put
take.
them in
I
that
stand by
50
my
range.
Sixers
That one
take.
could come back to bite me if injuries play a part. And they won 47 games last year.
That one did come back to bite you, Dalton.
not
That one
even
did
playing
come
that
back to
much.
bite
So
you.
I think 50 to 56 is a really solid place for these guys here. Charlotte Hornets.
Now, I wasn't going crazy. I wasn't like they're going to freaking dominate the East. They're 57 plus. I mean, 50-56 compared to what they were actually at the year before is not a crazy take. Obviously, the injuries and everything. But, I still like the Clippers take, where it's like you got Kawhi. He's kind of hurt. Paul George kind of like, him and the role players. They can kind of carry a little bit. Clippers in a harder conference, I had a little bit of confidence in that. And, even with the injuries. And Jared McCain played amazing. Like, you had a rookie who was playing crazy, so it just really sucks. But, You know, you win some, you lose some. Right now, we're losing a lot. Let's see where we put the Hornets.
Quite a bit. I have a hard time.
Hornets won
putting them
19
up to
games.
30 to 28 wins, but I think that they could get here. I really like what the Hornets have done. You know, if LaMelo has a healthy
Oh
year, I think the Bulls are gonna
no,
be
Dalton!
worse.
Put
But
them
there's a couple
down
other
one,
teams in the East that
bro.
are gonna be
It's
worse,
the
to
Hornets.
where they can kind of gain some of those wins. I really want to put the Hornets here at 28. I think they get a little bit better, but I don't know if they get that much better.
They
I think I'm
don't.
gonna put the Hornets there. We're gonna go 27.
Ooh.
We're gonna move this to 26. So we're gonna do that. This might be subject to change. Might be. Let's go Washington.
Hornets better be subject to change. What did they win? They won 19. Yeah, it didn't even matter.
I don't. You know, they won 15 last year. I don't see them being that much better. I think they could be 3 games better though. I think the Pistons, although they were at the bottom of the conference last year, I
Yo,
think
no
they
way I was
skyrocket
high on the
at
Wizards.
least 10 wins.
Was I high
Like,
on
I think they get
everybody?
to 24.
They won 18
ish,
games.
like 20-24 range. So I don't know if the Wizards do though. All right, Orlando Magic.
Bro. This means I was high on them. Definitely didn't get this right.
One of the best.
Okay, I just want to say something. The Wizards won 18 games, and I have less than 18 and 18 to 26, bro. That is so disappointing. The Wizards are there too, bro. Oh my god. The Wizards was close. I'm going to mark my close losses.
Best theme songs in the NBA puts them automatically in S tier. No, I'm just kidding.
Bro,
The Magic are interesting though. The Magic were the 5th seed last year. They had 47 wins. There was this big cluster.
How many
of
wins did they get
teams
this year?
that all had
41.
wins. You have the Magic, you have the Pacers, you have the Sixers, and then right above that you have the Cavs and the Bucks at 48 and 49.
See,
So,
bro,
like,
the East was super
this
close too.
3 through 7 range.
Cra-
is, like,
it's crazy
all within
impossible
these
to
2
predict.
wins. So I think that's kind of similar to what it's going to be this year. I don't see the Magic winning less than like what they kind of won last year. So I think that puts them in this tier again.
They were 41.
You know,
Dalton,
I'm not
move them
trying
down.
to base everything off of last year.
Move
but
them
they got
down.
better. They got KCP. I think if anything, honestly, like they might be in this 42, but I think 43 is a good place to put them here. This is kind of like your playoff teams out east. Like,
Bro, put 'em
43
down.
kinda gets you into the
I hope I do
play-in
some
at least.
shuffling at the end that I
Also,
don't
Hawks
remember.
won 36 games last year.
The Hawks
I
got
really
us
think
straight.
I really think that they're in this
Yo.
43 to 49 range.
That's
So I'm gonna keep them here.
hilarious.
Miami Heat. The Heat, I have a hard time.
The Hawks weren't even next. Yo, they were just top of mind of being mid. Oh, that's hilarious.
Kind of hypothetically, maybe.
How
on
many-
the move. They won
37?
46 games last year. I feel like they're gonna be better this year. Like honestly, and I feel like this is kind of the range. for
No
them, that
way, I'm
52 to
high on the
49.
Heat too,
just
bro.
hate
Dude,
putting so many
okay.
teams, like high up.
Note for next year. Note to myself for
Like
next
this,
year.
'cause
Don't be high on everyone. Someone's got to suck. Someone's going to outperform what they're supposed to do. Oh my gosh. I felt pretty good about this going in, but I do not anymore.
I have a feeling one of these teams is gonna either fall out of here or just like really underperform due to an injury or something. I'm gonna put them in this 43 to 49. I really like Jimmy. I think Bam.
They won 41, bro. Oh, no, they won 37. They need to be in that bottom tier.
Hopefully you can figure out like maybe some of the defensive stuff that they struggled with last year. But I really think that the Heat are going to be pretty decent this year. Next up, Hawks. Gosh, the Hawks should be bad this year.
They won 40
But-
games.
They won 36 games last year, and I think that's about where they are. You get Rich Jose,
Bro.
who is seen as a weaker number 1 pick, but I think he looked okay
no.
in Summer League. I didn't watch it.
Guys, this is bad.
Played overseas.
Oh
so
my
think
God,
he's
I
gonna
don't
be
know
okay.
ball,
I think he's
bro.
gonna be a pretty good prospect.
don't
For
know
a number 1
ball.
pick, I feel like the expectations aren't really like super high for him because he went to the Hawks, and
We had to do the
because
same
of
like
the
win
situation with,
tiers
like,
this
him
next
and
year too.
Aksar and these other like guys not really being like number 1 picks. I'm gonna put them in that 27 to 36. I think if anything, they lose a few more games than they won the year before. Pacers. They won 47 last year, and
Yo, that's a good
I have a lot of
fucking.
teams in this range.
Oh, they won 50? No way I
like
put them in
the Cavs
50,
to
bro.
jump. I do. I
Good
think just one more
prediction.
year being together, I
You're
think Darius
just
Garland's gonna be a lot more healthy.
8 games
They rattled
off
those
still.
21
That's
last year,
insane,
but
bro.
it's either them or the Bucks. You know, like I'm kind of in between on them.
I think Giannis has a really
Yo,
good
what'd the
comeback
Bucks
year. I
win?
think
48?
he's
Oh my god.
top
Don't take
three
one of my
MVP
wins.
voting again.
Yo.
I'm really struggling with where to put them. Just because they did win 49 games last year, but the Cavs won 48. You know, it's just a few game difference, but I think we could see some more 50-win teams this next year. So I think I'm going to go with this.
We
for
do.
now,
There was
and
4 of
kinda
them.
leave this as the East. I don't have anyone in this 37 to 42.
Put the Hawks there, bro.
Which only one team was in that range last year, and it was the Chicago Bulls. That's kind of crazy, actually, if you think about it. Whereas in the West, there's just the Houston Rockets. They were the only team. Man, that's kind of crazy, actually. Let's go ahead and move on to the West.
All right, I need a generational run from the Western Conference, and I, honest to God, don't think I'm going to get it. Let's recap the East. We have, as it sits, the Bucks. Let's cross them off. We went from a 3-6 prediction to a 2-13. We're going to move on to the West here. We're going to see how this goes. Let's see where I place the Utah Jazz, bro.
The Jazz always start off really strong.
This is not as fun
They
as
don't
I was
ever
hoping it would
finish
be.
the year strong, you know, they kind of waver off a little bit. Jazz are kind of hard to place here. I think 27-36. I think that's fair. I think they're
Bro,
gonna
they
be
didn't win
good,
that many
but not
games.
good enough to do anything
17
in the West in the
games, bro.
playoffs.
They had the
Houston
worst
Rockets,
record in
I
the
think they're in
league.
this 37 to 42 range. I think they're the definition of a 500 team. I think that they are just gonna miss the play-in again. One of the teams has to
I
fall out
definitely
because
got
I
the
think-
fucking Rockets
and
wrong.
It's insane to think about, but the Memphis Grizzlies are a top 6 team in the West when they're healthy.
Bro,
Dude,
I'm not excited for this.
They don't have very much continuity, but they're really good. But I think for the Jazz, because that's who we're actually talking about here, I think that they're this 27-36. The Rockets, I think they're in this 37 to 42.
No way I
so
move them down
I think
2
we leave
tiers,
those
bro.
there. New Orleans, 49 wins last year. I think they might get 50. They had a lot of interesting stuff kind of going on.
Listen, health is an insanely incredible value in the NBA. Trey Murphy played amazing this year. Herb Jones was pretty good this year again. Zion actually played a decent amount of games until they shut him down. CJ McCollum was on a tear for the last half of the season. So if they weren't so injured, I don't know if they get 50. I'm going to be completely honest with you, but this was my one pick where I was really predicting and hoping for a jump. So I'm still not mad at this take. I really liked the Pelicans going into last year just because I thought they might have a healthy year, but I guess the ship has sailed for that.
I'm pretty high on the Pelicans.
Blueprint
but I
was
just could
there.
see injuries or something bringing them down to this tier, and that's
Down to the
one
bottom.
thing I'm worried about.
All the way
I
down,
think there's
Dalton.
always something with them.
They
It's
won
if they're
21
super
games.
Healthy, they can be this team. They can be the 1 seed, kind of like the Thunder. But I just think the injuries bring them from your 43 wins to your 56 wins. Either one of these tiers, I think, suits them. The Lakers.
A little better.
Oh boy.
Little better.
One more year, LeBron. Going into it and not knowing how good he's gonna be, and having no.
He's
reason
gonna be
really
good,
to know
Dalton.
Him being really good. I think they're in this 43 to 49.
How many
They won
wins did
47
the
last year.
Lakers? They got
I mean, they're
50,
two
bro.
games
I'm
better.
one game
That puts
off on the
them
Lakers.
as the 6th seed instead of the 8th seed. So I really think that, especially with the Grizzlies coming back and winning a lot more games, I think the West is going to be a lot more competitive. So
It
I'm not gonna
was.
have as many teams super high. The Thunder are one of the teams.
Also, I can't predict they trade Anthony Davis for Luka Doncic, so that one I'm not mad at. 1 game off, I would like to be correct, but that's
So I'm just
unfortunate.
gonna put them up in this 57 plus tier.
Yes!
Hardenstein picked up Caruso.
They won
Don't think
68
better because
games.
their young guys are gonna progress. They're easily in this 57 plus.
Hell yeah, they are,
Shea
Dalton.
Stays healthy all year. The Nuggets are another team. I feel pretty strongly about that. They did lose KCP though, so it makes me want to put them in this
50.
tier. I think KCP is
Oh.
a lot bigger deal
Hey,
to lose than
let's
a lot of
go.
people are kind of thinking. That's kind of why I have the Magic staying in this tier. I don't think they're falling off after their run last year because they picked up KCP. So I think
Well,
the
they did
Nuggets
Dalton. They got
drop-
injured.
I mean, if they win 56 games, they lost one more game than last year. So I think
That'd be
that 50
take.
to 56
That'd be
is
take.
fair. They're definitely still making the playoffs, and they're still a top 6 seed in the Western Conference. But I just don't see them being this 57
4 seed.
because Jokic had an incredible MVP season last year, and Jamal Murray really didn't look good in the Olympics this year, which doesn't exactly translate to how he's gonna look in the regular
Covered
season.
my ass.
But I
He looked
really
all right
think
to
they're
end
gonna
this
drop to
season,
this
so.
50 to 56 tier. Next
W
up,
take,
Portland Trailblazers.
please.
I think they should be
They
in
won-
this less than.
Bro, the West is insane. I should have learned that from the year before when they won 21 games. Bro, they won 36 games, dude. They had the same record as the Phoenix Suns.
10. That's absurd.
And it's less than 18, but I really think they're going to be up here. I don't think
Wait.
they have a whole lot to write home about.
Oh, they
but
36,
I think
not
that them
26
winning 21
Dalton.
games last year is impressive. I honestly would not have put them at that much if I wasn't looking at it. So I think we're going to put them in this tier.
Should have
Let's
done
go
the same
Grizzlies.
thing.
We kind of talked about them earlier. Let me look at where they were 2 years ago. Because last
Don't
year's
do
kind of a
that to
fluke.
yourself,
2
Dalton.
years ago, they won 51 games. They were the 2 seed, and they took on the Lakers after the play-in. That's right. Okay.
They won
John
48,
Morant is
bro.
Such a good basketball player. Healthy, it just is the engine of this team. You have Desmond Bane. You have Jaren Jackson, who won DPOY 2 years ago. You have Zach Edey, who's going to hold up the front court as a rookie, and I think he'll be actually pretty good. I think a lot of people have some skepticism towards Zach Edey, but I think he's going to be a lot better than people think. So I don't think they win 50 games just because the West is so crowded now. I feel like they have to be in this 43 to 49. I feel
Yes,
like they're
W
not playing
take,
together,
Dalton. W
and
take.
They could have some of that injury history, which I'm not really trying to predict, but I kind of am just because of situations with them. I think they go from 27 to this 43 to 49 range, and I think that puts them either kind of in the play-in or like the bottom half of the top six. So I think we go with that. Minnesota Timberwolves. The Timberwolves are an interesting one. The Timberwolves won 56 games last year. So as I said at the beginning of this video, I am recording this the day that Cat is traded. They pick up DiVincenzo.
Oh, okay, the day
They
of.
pick up Julius Randle. Julius Randle
How many games they win?
was having a good year
49.
last
We'll
year,
put
but
him
then
down one.
You have this stretch where you play games without him, and that's why the Knicks are so scary. You take the team last year, the second half of the season, that had Josh Hart and Dante DiVincenzo going absolutely crazy, and in the playoffs, you replace Dante DiVincenzo and Josh Hart with Karl Anthony Towns and Mikal Bridges.
Bro, on paper,
That
bro.
is so absurdly impressive to me. And I think after that trade, like if Kristaps Porzingis misses a decent amount of this year, I think the Knicks can be better than the Celtics in the regular season. this
Bro,
year. really do.
dude, I just got the teams wrong, bro. Even as a Celtics fan, I'm not like stupidly unbiased. How do I say that? I'm not stupidly biased. I'm a big Celtics fan and like I love to support my team, but I'm not gonna like die on the hill that they're the best team ever just because they had a generationally good regular season the year before. So I just got it wrong, bro. You swapped the because how many games did the Knicks win? They won 51, correct? Yeah. So I mean, you put them down a tier. You swap the Cavs with them.
I think
Not that I'm gonna
they
do that,
have a
but
good chance to beat them in their matchups. And if we have
The
this
logic's
post-championship,
there,
like,
bro.
clarity for the Celtics, and they're not really playing as hard as they need to. I think that they won't have that personally because Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, I feel like, are both going to be on a mission. Because
kinda were.
let's be honest, this championship run that they had wasn't like super glorified, and I'm not saying that because I'm a Celtics fan. Like I could give a damn less if Bleacher Report and everyone else posted more about it and made it look awesome. I just can't really see them not being all locked in because of the things that happened with the Olympics for both of them. And I think that they just both are going to come into this season with a chip on their shoulder. So take that as
That's one of my
biased Celtics
correct
fandom, if you will,
predictions,
but I think
so.
the Celtics and the Knicks are both going to be fighting for that top seed in the Eastern Conference. Anyway,
Knicks were the 3 seed. It's not like they fell
the
off.
Minnesota Timberwolves, who we were supposed to be talking about. I like Julius Randle on this team. Another rebounder. I think that you can put
Bro,
him at the
one less
5
game,
as
bro.
well. Like if Rudy Gobert's not playing well, but I think that him and Rudy would kind of mesh well together. Not as well as Cat. That's one thing I am worried about. But you get Dante DiVincenzo in this deal as well, and a first-round pick. So I think I don't mind it because you also have Naz Reid, and I feel like Naz Reid and
Bro,
Julius
Naz Reid
Randle
is
can both
so
play well
good.
together as well. So I think you have options if you're the Timberwolves, which you also had last year. So I think this 50 to 56 is fair. They won 56 games last year, but with the Grizzlies coming
Yeah, I
back,
don't know if
with
I predict them
the
being
Rockets
7
and these
games
younger
less.
teams kind of getting a little bit better, I think that 50 to 56 is a good place for them. All right, Dallas Mavericks.
Oh,
This is one that
no.
I'm actually pretty excited about. They pick up Klay Thompson. They
shouldn't
do
be.
lose.
Oh
What's
no,
his name? Derrick
Nico
Jones Jr. They do
Harrison.
lose him, but they bring in Najee Marshall. They bring in Klay Thompson. They won 50 games last year, so I think they get better. I think that Luka is going to have a legitimate MVP race this year, so long as he starts the season off really strong. I just think that bringing in a 4-time champion like Klay
Not strong
Thompson
enough for Nico to
with
keep him.
Kyrie, who's also an NBA champion, I think that they are going to mesh extremely well.
And I think Klay Thompson's going to fit into this system really well too. So
Klay did
I'm
play.
putting him in
He
this
played
50
all
to
right this
56.
year.
I don't
It's
see
hard to
them
judge
losing
the
less
second
games
half of
than
this
they won
season
last
for
year.
him.
So we're going to put him there. San Antonio Spurs. The Spurs are so interesting. You
Mavs.
get Chris Paul. You also trade for Harrison Barnes, who I don't mind that pickup
Spurs,
for the young team.
34.
He didn't really mesh well with the Kings, who we're going to get to. I don't know how much better I see the Spurs. I can see them being a lot better is the thing. I think that they could honestly be in this 27.
Yes, put them
36
there.
tier.
Come on, man.
The only problem
They
is
won
there's
34.
Like 20 wins here that the Grizzlies are eating up, I feel like. So maybe it's just the fact that like the Jazz are going to get worse and we have a couple teams at the top falling down.
Bro,
a
move the
little bit,
Jazz all the
but
way down.
I really think that if this is my one team I'm wrong on, I'm okay with that. I think the Spurs can win 27 games this year.
Hell yeah.
That's 5 more than they won
They won
last
34.
year. And when we didn't play the last game, they could have won that one too. So let's go Suns. The Suns, the 6th seed, won 49 games last year. They bring in Tyus Jones, which I don't
36.
hate, but I just don't see them being so much better than last year. Because
W take. A lot of people were high on the Suns.
I just don't see like them moving up in order for these teams to move down. Besides the bottom teams just taking more losses. So I think I put them in this 43 to 49. I could really see them being up here though, is the thing. One thing though too is I think the Clippers are in this 43 to 49. The Clippers definitely got worse losing Paul George. They
won
pick up Derrick
50
Jones Jr.,
games, bro.
which I think allows them to stay in this 43 to 49.
They won
also have
50
James Harden and
games,
Kawhi
bro.
Leonard, but Kawhi Leonard has something that he's dealing with.
Go Clips.
Injury wise right now, which I think could come back to bite
I
them
respect
during
it.
this regular season. So I think we put the Clippers there. And then I think that might allow the Suns to be in that 50 range. They won 49, so it's not crazy to say that they're going to be better. I think it's really funny that I have this 37 to 42, and all I have is the Rockets and the Warriors in this tier. The Warriors are so
won
hard for me to
48,
place. They
bro.
won 46
You can't
games
predict that
last
they're
year.
gonna
The
trade
Warriors are
for
really hard
Jimmy.
for me right now. They lose Klay Thompson, but
I will say that's kind of the pace that they were on before the Jimmy Butler trade went through. So you know what? I'm not predicting trades. I'm just predicting the regular season, which you kind of have to, but
they bring in Kyle
I'm not mad
Anderson,
at
they bring
that.
in Buddy Hield, and I want to say that they'll be better. I want to say they're going to be in this 43 range. 'Cause that's where they were last
let's
year.
go.
That's so many teams
I
in this
predicted it
range
anyways.
that I feel like so many of the losses are going to have to pile up on these bottom teams, which is kind of how it works. But I don't know. We also have the Kings who got better, and they bring in
Bro,
DeMar DeRozan,
Kings,
who's not like
40.
a perfect fit for them, but I think.
Oh, yeah, I
works
think
for
I put them
really
there.
like him on the Sacramento Kings, and I don't see them losing less games than they won last year. I think that's a lot of teams for me right now, but. You have the Nuggets, who I think are going to win less games. You also have the Clippers, who I think are going to win less games. You have the Lakers, who I feel like are going to be about the same as last year. You have the Jazz, who I honestly think are going to lose more games than they won last year. I think this is what I go with, though, you guys. I think that this is the tier list that we do.
God,
and,
bro.
I hope you guys enjoyed me talking through this. If you actually stayed for the whole video, I really appreciate it. I think I like the way this looks. I think that I might
You
need to have
shouldn't.
a few more in this 37 to 42 range, but it's kind of like in that, no man's land of like 500 NBA teams. So I think
All right, let's see
that
if I
this
change
is a good
anything.
start, unless anything drastic trade-wise happens or an injury before the season. This is what I'm going to lock in as my tier list for the NBA season. So
Okay, so overall record. Let's count it up. All right, so for those of you not keeping track, drum roll please. 8-22 with predictions. Now, I'm not mad at some of the takes. I'll show you guys this too. I wrote this down too. So for the teams that were one game off of my prediction either way, 13 and 17, there was 5 teams that I was just one game off of, and it's really just my tier list because like the area that they're in is correct. It's just like one game that kind of puts them off. So those teams were the Lakers, the Wolves, the Clippers, the Wizards, and the Pacers. So those were all pretty close. The Bucks I had in the correct tier. I just ended up moving them in the end. So I'm a little mad at that, but all in all, not a bad little prediction here. I was pretty close on everything. The one thing I will say is I need to be better about like kind of picking out the bottoming out teams because all these teams at the bottom were pretty much incorrect. I got the Raptors correct. It was the Raptors and the Spurs. Those are the only 2 teams that I got correct in that bottom tier there. So that's really what got me. The top tiers were like 1 or 2 off, and then the 43 to 49 was just like a lot more teams than I kind of thought, but all in all, not terrible. If you guys did enjoy this, I actually had a lot more fun reacting to this than I thought that I would. I still stand by some of these takes. We're gonna look at some of the comments, see what you guys actually thought before
We have actually fired takes by Morgan. I appreciate. The Hornets have adjusted their roster heavily. If we are healthy, we're definitely winning 35 minimum, but upwards to 41. We've got the best roster and coach in maybe franchise history. This is a crazy take. How many games did the Hornets win? The Hornets won 19 games, but they were generationally bad without LaMelo. I think I saw a stat where they were like 3-31 or something. I could be wrong, but I think that was their record without LaMelo. Spurs winning 40 plus games. You're tripping. Son, I wasn't tripping. That was actually one of my 8 correct predictions. They will go as far as Wemby can carry them out west. Wemby got hurt. They hit the tank button. So sorry about that, Omar. Your team was not as good as you thought. I just don't think the Clippers will be a top 8 seed this season. There's no reason to trust Kawhi at this point, and Harden has become inconsistent ever since he left Brooklyn. The first one, Kawhi, I can understand that. Harden was amazing this year, which you can't really predict, but they were pretty good, and Tyronn Lue always kind of figures it out. And Zubac was amazing this year. He's going to be all defensive, and I honestly think that he might be all NBA third team. Like, he's been so good defensively for them. When you lose a top small forward, and Paul George, Kawhi does have everything to do with where they place next season, even without PG. I still like them, but I agree they won't be as good as they were last year. They're on the lower end of the 43 to 49. They were on the higher end, but I still count that as one game off, even though I was thinking 43. I bet everything I own the Kings to finish first in their division, not last. Low-key watching it back, I think the Kings could move up a tier. Glad you didn't listen to this guy. Yo, T. Willie. Did they finish last? I guess it was the Suns, so they didn't finish last, but finished second to last. Paul George is third man on the team, not Tyrese. I agree with you, actually. Kind of think about them as a 2A, 2B, where any night it could be either one. Realistically, Joel will get hurt. Yeah. This is 100% true. Good takes here. Good takes here. Nice clickbait title. Yeah, okay. This one actually kind of made me mad. What is my title? I predicted every NBA team's record for the next season. I did. I predicted. I didn't say it was correct. Looking back at this, I'm not mad at this tier list. It was not very correct, but we're going to come back next year and we're going to be even better. I'm shooting for 15 correct guesses next year. We're going to look at all the teams that did me dirty, figure out why they did me dirty, and I'll be back next year, you guys. I appreciate y'all. Have a good rest of your day. Peace out, y'all. Peace out.